In 1998, Newell acquired Calphalon and publicly promised that operations would not change. For 35 years, Perrysburg, Ohio, had produced professional-grade cookware born from aerospace innovation. On December 31, 2023, that plant closed for good. 130 workers lost their jobs. The brand name survived, but everything that earned it did not. To understand how Calphalon quietly collapsed, you need to see what made it worth saving. In 1963, Ronald Kasperzak walked into a small metal spinning shop in Perrysburg, Ohio, and bought it outright. He called it commercial aluminum cookware. The company started out making basic aluminum pots and pans for restaurants, serving the needs of professional kitchens across the Midwest. 5 years later, Kasperzak made a leap that would define the brand for decades. Drawing on techniques from the aerospace industry, he adapted a hard anodizing process for cookware, a method that transformed ordinary aluminum into something far tougher and more resistant to corrosion. The result was a pan with a dense, durable surface that could withstand the daily abuse of a commercial kitchen and still hold up at home. This was not just a marketing claim. The anodized layer bonded to the metal itself, creating a surface that resisted scratches, warping, and the acids found in food. Chefs noticed. Cooking schools adopted the pans as teaching tools. By the late 1970s and 1980s, department stores and specialty retailers were stocking Calphalon, offering home cooks the same tools used by professionals. The company's reputation grew not from advertising, but from the relentless performance of its products. In 1992, the company changed its name to Calphalon, reflecting its rise from an industrial supplier to a household name. By 1997, annual revenue reached $110 million, most of it earned with pans still made in Perrysburg. For more than 3 decades, Calphalon's identity was inseparable from Ohio manufacturing, technical innovation, and a promise of lasting quality, an American original built on substance, not spin. On June 7, 1998, Newell completed its acquisition of Calphalon, folding the Ohio-based cookware maker into a sprawling portfolio of consumer brands. The announcement was accompanied by a public assurance. Operations would not change. Securities and Exchange Commission filings and press releases repeated the promise that Calphalon's manufacturing, workforce, and leadership would remain intact. Newell's top executives, including Chief Executive Officer John McDonough and Chief Financial Officer William Cox, signed statements pledging to respect the brand's legacy and keep the Perrysburg plant open. But behind these assurances, the process known as Newellization began. This playbook, detailed in Harvard Business School case studies, called for centralizing management and cutting overhead across all acquired brands. Within a year, senior leadership roles in Perrysburg were eliminated. Product development and engineering teams were moved to Newell's corporate hub in Atlanta, removing decision-making power from the plant floor. Overhead was reduced through standardized procurement and tighter control of margins, shifting Calphalon's culture away from the high-touch premium model that had made it distinct. Heritage language, references to American manufacturing and craftsmanship, remained in public statements. Internally, however, the focus shifted to rationalizing costs and streamlining operations. Calphalon's identity as a local, innovative manufacturer began to separate from its business reality, as management and product decisions migrated hundreds of miles from the Ohio plant that had defined the brand's reputation for decades. By the early 2000s, Calphalon's manufacturing footprint had slipped quietly across the Pacific. The first waves of offshoring sent non-stick fry pans to factories in Guangdong, followed by stainless steel, cutlery, and bakeware lines produced in Suzhou and Shanghai. Cast iron and small appliances soon followed, leaving only a handful of premium collections assembled in Perrysburg. As more product lines moved to China, the company's public-facing materials grew silent on where anything was actually made. Product pages omitted any country of origin labeling, and calls to customer service yielded only vague assurances or outright admissions that the information was unavailable. The familiar Toledo, Ohio stamp, once a marker of local pride, now pointed to a corporate mailing address. It was no longer proof that a pan had ever seen an Ohio factory floor. This shift created a new kind of uncertainty for buyers. Longtime customers, used to trusting the name, found themselves searching for clues about what they were really getting. The promise of American craftsmanship faded into a label with no clear origin, while the brand's public identity drifted further from the reality of its supply chain. In this new era, Calphalon became a brand in name only, its manufacturing roots obscured, its reputation for transparency and quality quietly replaced by a system built on a mission. For many, the question was no longer just about cookware, but about trust itself. Buyers who once trusted Calphalon's reputation began noticing changes that could not be explained away by nostalgia. The most common complaint, echoed across product review boards and retailer websites, was the rapid breakdown of non-stick coatings. Pans that had once lasted for years now showed peeling or deep scratches after only 1 to 3 years of normal use. The pattern was not isolated. Review aggregators recorded an average satisfaction rating of 2.2 out of 5 for the newer non-stick lines, a sharp drop from the brand's earlier standing. Customers described how coatings flaked off in sheets, or how metal utensils left marks that were impossible to clean. The problems extended beyond surface wear. Across different product lines, buyers reported inconsistencies that suggested deeper quality control issues. Some batches of cookware arrived with slight warping, uneven finishes, or loose handles. Cutlery, once known for seamless construction, now showed visible seams where plastic met the tang, misalignments that let water seep in, and handles separate over time. In online forums and kitchenware groups, a recurring sentiment took hold. The old Calphalon pieces, stamped with Ohio origins, simply outlasted the newer ones. Owners of vintage pans described decades of reliable use, while recent buyers found themselves cycling through replacements in a fraction of the time. The gap between the premium promise and the reality in home kitchens had become impossible to ignore. The cookware itself became silent proof that something fundamental had changed. In April 2016, Newell Brands closed the Jarden acquisition for $18.7 billion, instantly swelling its debt to more than $10 billion. The company, once seen as a stable house for legacy brands, now faced a balance sheet dominated by leverage. Newell's share price, which hovered near $54.89 in 2016, slid relentlessly to about $6 by 2023, an 85% collapse that wiped out billions in market value. Analysts tracked the company's Altman Z-score as it plunged to 0.59, a level that signals deep financial distress and a heightened risk of bankruptcy. With debt service consuming cash, Newell's leadership cut back on investment across its portfolio. Internal planning documents from 2017 tie these budget constraints directly to Calphalon, noting that reduced spending on research, development, and marketing was necessary to protect the parent company's cash flow. The premium cookware brand, once defined by reinvestment in quality and innovation, became just another line item in a cost-cutting regime dictated by mounting financial pressure. On August 22, 2023, a formal W.R. Act notice was filed. The document listed the permanent closure of the Calphalon manufacturing facility in Perrysburg, Ohio. 130 workers learned their jobs would end. The shutdown became official on December 31, 2023. This was not a temporary layoff or a seasonal cutback. The closure erased the last physical trace of Calphalon's American manufacturing base. After 60 years, the plant that had once pioneered hard anodized cookware stood empty. For decades, the Perrysburg workforce had been the backbone of Calphalon's reputation. The average wage was $18.50 an hour, supporting families and contributing to the local economy. Many employees had spent their entire careers on the factory floor, passing down skills that defined the brand's original promise of quality. Now, there would be no next generation to inherit that craft. The plant's disappearance meant more than lost paychecks. It meant the end of a community's role in an American success story. The 1998 acquisition promise that operations would not change was quietly broken. The SEC filings and press releases that once reassured workers and townspeople now read like artifacts from another era. In their place, the WARN notice stood as a final legal admission that the original pledge had been abandoned. The closure landed hardest in Perrysburg itself, where the plant's absence left a gap that could not be filled by corporate statements or distant management. The end of Calphalon's Ohio era was no longer a rumor or a gradual fading. It was an official act, recorded in public documents, and felt in the lives of those who had built the brand from the ground up. Today, Calphalon is a brand in name only. Its American legacy was erased by corporate calculus. As Newell Brands' debt deepens and offshoring accelerates, the meaning of Made in America fades further from store shelves. What's lost is more than cookware. It's trust, built over decades, abandoned overnight.